Well, good morning, everyone. How are you? Hope you're having a great start to your day, and we're looking forward to our program this morning. And it's always great as we have our little romper room and say hello to folks. And guess who's number one today again? Brahim. Mike right up there again, number two. Okay, let's see if Andrea makes it or Andrea right in the top three from Niagara Falls. You guys, I'm telling you. And Kevin from Oshawa right there. Kate from Toronto. Fran, Orangeville, how are you? Sandy from Minnesota. And another Sandy. Two Sandys in a row. Betty Lynn, Brantford. Wendy from Markham. Patricia, good morning. And Lisa Marie. And Rafaela. Gloria, New York. Deb from Motown. And Lakefield. Who was that? I didn't see it. Carrie, Nebraska. Who was from Lakefield? Come on back on. Fran. Maryland. Kelowna. Cape Breton. I didn't see it. Went up into the clouds. They're going into the clouds. Mary, how are you? New Brunswick. Sue, Bolton. Georgie, Halifax, Nova Scotia. I could barely make it out. Marianne. Judy, New Brunswick. And Bonnie, good morning from Annandale, Minnesota. And, Judy, Manitoba. Sue, Manitoulin Island. Rain Cloud, Michigan. And Sharon, there's Sharon from Lakefield. Thanks, Sharon, for coming back up. Joan, Wyoming. Janice, Brampton. Lorraine, BC. Yvonne, Petawawa, good morning to you. Len and Judy, Edmonton, Alberta. Cecilia, how is you? Vince from Toronto. And see, I didn't see that name. Wanda, Virginia. Rebecca, Callender, Ontario. Muriel from Hearst. Connie. Connie says she's on Yahoo. Diane, Thunder Bay. Francis, Vaughn. David, Ridgeway. Kathy, Taiwan. Wow. And Rose. Jude. Patricia. And Kathy from New Jersey, good morning. We appreciate you guys coming on. Sandra, couple of more and let's get going. Rosa, Montreal, Thea, and Sharon from Kansas. Donna from Newfoundland. And Karen from Kincardine. Eola, how are you from Manitoba? Maria, you guys are so wonderful. Bonnie, Little Britain. And Deb from Timmins. Linda, good morning. Joanne, Saskatchewan. Guys, thank you for coming on. Jean and Kathy says, pull me out of the clouds. Dawn. Okay, let me just get you all thinking about one person here this morning, Yolande, okay, who's been with us right from the beginning. Even from the beginning of my radio show. That's how long Yolande has been a follower of Dr. Martin. Okay, so we appreciate her big time. She fell and broke her hip a couple of days ago, and I just got an update from her daughter that she had an operation, and so far she's doing well. Okay, so keep your prayers up for her. And guys, if you got anything, this is what the private Facebook group is too, by the way. Let us know, okay? If you let me know ahead of time that it's your birthday, well, wish you happy birthday, okay? And we'll do it live, okay? So let's pray together for Yolande, one of our faithful group members for sure. Okay, now. Couple of new studies come out, and I might go back a little bit because there's actually one study on dieting. I'll bring that up if I get a chance this morning, but 2 new studies, brand new, hot off the presses. One about ibuprofen. Okay? Ibuprofen disrupts the gut barrier, the microbiome. Okay? Now, we sort of knew this, but this study is saying it, and it becomes an immune dysregulator. Now, you guys know, for years and years, I've talked about the greatest discovery of the 20th century was what? Antibiotics. The greatest discovery in medicine, because it saved millions of people's lives, and even today, it still does. So, hallelujah for antibiotics. But I've always taught you that it's a double-edged sword, because the antibiotic will disrupt your microbiome. It kills the bad guys for sure. Unfortunately, it also kills the good guys. You get a carpet bombing of your microbiome. And I've shown you this, and I want you to visualize this for those who are listening on a podcast, okay? So for those live, I'm going to show you the difference in what happens. And this has been shown too, by the way. What happens when you have a disrupted microbiome, and it actually changes the microvilli in your small intestine. Okay, so let me explain that. Your villi are a big part of your small intestine. So once food comes out of the stomach, it's been micro-sized. Your proteins are broken down into amino acids. Your fats are broken down. Your carbs are broken down. Your macros are broken down. And your body micro-sizes it. That's what your stomach acidity is for. Then it sends it in to the small intestine. Now, the small intestine isn't that small. It's actually quite wide. And that's so it can absorb those nutrients and send it into the bloodstream for delivery, right? Okay? Now, here's what they've shown. When you've been on repeated antibiotics, it actually affects the villi, the absorbing. Okay, so I'm showing folks, again, this is, if live, you will see it. If not, just visualize it. Remember in the 1970s, you had shag carpeting. Okay? I like illustrations. Okay? Shag carpeting. Okay? I'm showing you a patch of shag carpeting. This is what your villi should look like. Because in here, when the food comes in, all of these, the shag carpet of your small intestine, they pick up all your nutrients and absorb them. Okay? When they look at an autoimmune person, someone that has an autoimmune disorder, and like I said before, autoimmune is always a form of leaky gut. And the small intestine gets disrupted because, and one of the main factors of that is antibiotics. You don't see it right away. It doesn't happen right away. But over a period of time, even the villi, and, okay, and then you get a modern carpet. Okay, tightly knit. That's all right in your house. but it's certainly not good in your small intestine, because now you're going to have a lot less absorption of your nutrients. Okay? So now I'm going to give you a second factor. When you take a non-steroidal anti-inflammatory, Tylenol, Advil, naproxen, Aleve, okay, these disrupt. You don't just, well, I have pain, therefore I got to get rid of it. I understand that. You got a terrible headache. Okay? And you want to get rid of it, or you have arthritis and it's painful and you're not sleeping and you got a lot of pain, a lot of inflammation. And I talk to people every day that live on Advil or Tylenol. They live on. I can assure you of one thing. I can assure you of this. And the double whammo is people that had to take antibiotics. Look, as kids, we've shown this. This has been proven. Antibiotics in children. Okay? They take them for earaches when mostly it's viral. It's not even bacterial. Unless you see pus coming out of the ear. Look, I'm not saying no take antibiotics. Have I ever said that? No. If you got a raging infection, you got no choice. The problem is, they're going to be an effect on the gut. It's going to wipe out the good guys. And now they know even Advil and Tylenol and any non-steroidal anti-inflammatory, NSAIDs, they're called. They wipe out bacteria. They disrupt the microbiome. And now you've got, instead of a shag carpet in the small intestine, over a period of time, you get the tight-knit carpet down there. And so the long-term effects of that isn't good because, listen, I was a history guy. I'm a history buff. I love history. Okay? I impress my grandchildren with it. I love history. But I also like taking medical history. And I want to know, when I was in practice, I had a long questionnaire. If you wanted to see me, you were coming a half an hour early at least to fill out a questionnaire. And I wasn't fooling. Like some people, what does he want to know all this information for? Because I'm a history taker. And here's what I would ask, okay? I don't know if I even have that questionnaire here. I do. I have the questionnaire right in front of me. It's surprising me that I can find it so fast. Let me give you the questions I asked for leaky gut, okay? So I actually put it, leaky gut questionnaire. And people, they didn't even know me or whatever. What's he asking about? What's leaky gut? Okay? But here it is, okay? Have you taken antibiotics in the last few years? I want to know that. Do you get recurring urinary tract infections? That's a clue that you have a yeast infection. You have a fungal. You have candida. And that's a big part of leaky gut. It's the Trojan horse that comes in. Have you been on a lot of antibiotics as a child for ear, throat, or acne? What? Yeah. Even if it's been 20 years ago. You start a leaky gut. You start what we call a dysbiosis. You've disrupted those bacteria. And no light on top of your head comes on to tell you. But that can give you an autoimmune disease down the road. And people, they come in and they've got, an autoimmune disease, even Crohn's. Or they have a scleroderma. Or they have a skin autoimmune, like psoriasis or eczema. And they go, I don't know why I got that. I said, let's talk about your childhood. Let's talk about the use of antibiotics. Okay? Do you have recurring bouts of diarrhea, constipation, abdominal pain? Do you have a white tongue? Do you have bad breath? Do you have chronic sinusitis? Do you have memory loss, mood swings, rectal itching? A lot of times that's parasites, but how did parasites get in? Do you have a discharge? Vaginal or on the penis? Do you have a burning tongue? Do you get athlete's foot? Athlete's foot. Thrush. Toe fungus. Jock itch. Do you regularly, listen to this one, okay? So you don't think this is, I made up this questionnaire, I'm going to say at least 25 years ago. Do you regularly take NSAIDs, Tylenol, Advil, aspirin? Are you on or have you taken any birth control pills? Okay? And then right under leaky gut, I got childhood again. Did your mom take antibiotics before or during pregnancy? Were you breastfed? Were you born by C-section? Were you on antibiotics, again, as a child for ears, throat, and acne? Were you ever on puffers for asthma? All disruptive to the microbiome. So guys, I was always into the questionnaires because it gave me so much information. And then a new study just comes out. Ibuprofen disrupts the gut barrier. Yep, I knew that. But I knew that, but researchers didn't necessarily know it. Now they know it. Now they know it. So guys, listen. If you take an antibiotic, you know me, please, pretty please, make sure you take a probiotic. You have to replace that bacteria. Kids, why do you think we see so many allergies today? Every second child, peanut allergies. Nobody in the universe when I was a kid had a peanut allergy. Dairy allergies. My word. Every second person's got an allergy or two. Why do you think that happened? I'm a why guy. If we didn't have it when I was a kid, okay, why do we have it today? The world's changed, guys. And one of the things that gets affected by all these changes, and then you add chemicals, and you add plastic, and you add this, you add all those sprays. And, I listened to a statistic last night that when a woman leaves her home, by the time she leaves her home in the morning, if she's going to work. She's already been exposed to about 200 chemicals. Like, hello? We live in a different world. It's not a world that I grew up in necessarily. I mean, we had some stuff too, but it's worse today. And you can fix this, by the way. You can restore, okay, you know that tight-knit carpeting in your small intestine, those villi, okay, this isn't good. The tight knit, you don't want that. You want the long strands of villi. You see, this small intestine has been carpet bombed, either by antibiotics, and I call it a combo. Antibiotics and non-steroidal anti-inflammatories, NSAIDs. You put that combo together, you just can't take like a Tylenol or an Advil in impunity. You pay a price for that. This is why everybody and their dog should be on probiotics. Everybody and their dog. I remember this is, I don't know, 20 years ago, more than that. I used to say at least 2 times a year, take probiotics, okay? And then we had a paradigm shift at the Martin Clinic. My son and I, discussing all our patients and, you know what, and looking for leaky gut and whatever, we said, we made a paradigm shift. We said, and this is, I think, 20 years ago. Everybody, every day, for the world we live in, and it's gotten worse, hasn't gotten better, should take a probiotic. If you don't take a probiotic, I think, okay, my personal opinion, you're making a big mistake. You're making a big mistake in the world in which we live. And I have been talking about probiotics for 40 years. Okay? I always knew, and what I know today about the microbiome compared to what I used to know back then, I mean, holy moly. Like I was in the Stone Ages of probiotics, but it didn't matter. People weren't talking about them. They didn't know. And then they talked, when they found out that probiotics are good, they told people to eat some yogurt. Yeah, the problem is if it's been pasteurized, there's not even an ounce left of probiotic left. I'm talking about broad spectrum probiotics that get past your stomach and get into the intended destination of your gut to fix leaky gut, to knit it back up, to replace the bacteria that has been destroyed. And to go after the Trojan horse that comes in of when you have a disrupted microbiome, you know what happens? You get the yeast. It's a fungus. Don't feed the bears. That's where that expression came from, because of yeast and candida. And remember, candida is a transporter. Once it gets into the bloodstream, it'll take heavy metal with it. Mercury, lead, cadmium, and it can cross the blood-brain barrier. So knitting, this study is really important. Now we know even more fully that the microbiome is being disrupted. It's a bad combo, and it is of antibiotics and NSAIDs. Okay? If you're going to use an NSAID, if you have to take an Advil, if you have to take a Tylenol, if you have to take an aspirin, Okay? Remember, replace the bacteria that you're killing. Replace it. Regenerate. Your body has an amazing ability to regenerate, my friend. An amazing ability to regenerate. And we taught. And we did this not long ago. We talked about leaky gut, leaky brain, and the microbiome, the changes in the microbiome in the gut, and the connection to Alzheimer's. Right? Like a double whammo Alzheimer's. The biggest fear that we have today is losing our brain. My brother-in-law was telling me about yesterday about two friends of mine. Well, guys that I'd known years ago, and, I sort of lost touch with them, but they were guys that I knew for a long time. And they're in homes because they have dementia. Around my age. And they can't take care of themselves. You think that's not a fear? Why do we see so much Alzheimer's today? Why do we see these forms of dementia? Why? Why so much? Again, type 3 diabetes. We did a whole teaching on that again and again. And, look for that podcast to come and re-listen to it. We talk about how someone gets type 3 diabetes. It's food. And then on an earlier podcast, we talked about, and this was a study that we just broke down on leaky gut, the microbiome, and Alzheimer's. And I gave you the steps, how it occurs. And we did some teaching on that. But now you go to the origin of leaky gut, and you got a double whammo. Antibiotics and NSAIDs, non-steroidal anti-inflammatories. You can get them over the counter. You don't need a prescription. Don't live on that stuff, guys. And if you do, you better, big time, be taking probiotics. And there's nothing like a broad spectrum probiotic. Nothing else will replace your bacteria like that. Okay. The rumor is that tomorrow is question and answer Friday. Okay, that's a rumor. We're looking forward to it. Boy, I had a pile of studies here I wanted to go over, but we do a lot of these lives and podcasts, right? So I'll get to them. I get to them. I just got pontificating today on this new study on ibuprofen. Okay, get your questions in. I don't think it's too late for tomorrow. And if you got any questions, and remember to pray for Yolande, okay? We love you dearly, and we'll talk to you soon.